Hey, folks, welcome to the Accessible Hunter podcast. I'm Greg Trainer, along with my co host, Mike Cutson. We got a really special podcast this morning. We're talking with Allison Mitchell and Barb Terry. So I've been excited to talk with both of these ladies for a while and finally got them on the podcast. But first, Mike, what's going on in South Carolina, brother?
Hey man, just living the dream, dude. We're getting some good weather. It's been chilly in the mornings and springtime in the afternoons, unfortunately. But it's the deer are on the move. Man, we had a bunch of them chasing. They ran across the front yard yesterday. So getting excited just watching these deer get bumped off the beds and the does and bucks running and chasing each other.
Man, it's kind of the same way. The Bucks are starting to move, and I got three messages this week from three of my buddies that all got nice bucks. One in New York, and the rest here in Pennsylvania. And I'm
Yeah.
kind of chomping at the bit. This week we had a storm come through, and it collapsed my ground blind. I
Oh
didn't have
wow.
the side tied down on it, and my neighbor gave me a call and said, "Greg, did you take down your ground blind? I don't see it." And of course, I panicked and said, no, I didn't take it down. Hopefully, the storm didn't take it.
You're right.
So he went over and checked it out. And it was just collapsed flat down on the ground. So
Oh
uh,
wow.
a little tip for everybody: spend the extra money and get the big camping stakes for your
Yeah.
ground blind, because that probably saved me about $300 of the ground blind taken off. But that's a whole other story. Let's check in with Allison and Barb. How are you ladies today?
Good.
Doing good. I spent my last couple of days out in the Pennsylvania woods, not hunting, but a couple of days out there with the high winds and dodging raindrops.
So Barb, you know exactly what I'm talking about with that storm that came through Sunday night. It was like 50-mile-an-hour wind. So I'm glad that I didn't lose the blind, and glad that guys are out there getting some bucks.
Oh, definitely.
Allison, if you would, you want to tell us a little bit about you and your story and how you got into hunting and a little bit about you.
Well, I'm legally blind. I have some vision in my right eye. I can't see out of my left eye. I started hunting, well, and I've only been blind for 5 years now, so that's just, something new to adapt with. But prior
Yeah.
to that, I mean, I've been hunting with my dad since, I could walk. He took me with him and I sat in the stand with him and
So you grew up hunting, and your vision impairments just happened a few years ago, right?
yes, yep.
Um, when you were hunting as an able-bodied person, did you have a lot of success? Have you taken deer prior to your injury?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I got a whole wall full. It's in front of me, but yeah.
That's awesome. Um, what exactly is your visual impairment, Allison?
Um, well, I had blood clots develop and I had a CVT is what they call it. And
Right.
the blood clots actually put pressure on my optic nerves and then it
Wow.
just kind of caused them to stroke. So they had to suck all the blood clots out and then I regained
Yeah.
some vision back in my right eye, but my left eye never really got fixed.
Gotcha.
Right. What's one of the challenges that you face, Allison, with um, going from able-bodied to vision impaired and just trying to get on whatever animal that you're on? I know you said you just got back from duck. How was that with vision impairments?
When it comes to like waterfowl, I can see, especially if it's a nice overcast day, I can see
Right.
them kind of flying through the air and stuff like that. So I can usually get on them and follow them. But like when it comes to rifle season or archery, then that's when I need to have extra help.
Right.
And Allison, you recently went on a hunt with Barb Terry and the folks out at Whitetail Heritage in Ohio. Barb, how was that? Is this the first visually impaired hunter that you guys have hunted with?
Oh, I've worked with several visually impaired folks, and over the years, I've found different methods to assist us with the visually impaired. I've had from fully blind to just seeing shadows to, like Allison with a little bit of peripheral vision in one eye. And, it's absolutely amazing being able to help folks out and assist them harvest an animal. It's just a feeling you never know you're going to have until, you're out there with it. And,
Right.
I've done this several times now, and the technology is moving along so fast and
Yeah.
at reasonable prices that you can actually set things up for folks and let them do whatever they need to do. Allison, she was an easy one to teach, only because she had so much experience hunting already.
Right.
And she is used to using that same type of equipment on her guns. So that was a big plus. And she's hard-headed like me, so we got along just fine.
There you go. Barb,
We-
you kind of went right into the question I was getting ready to ask. With vision impairment or hand dexterity issues or anything you guys faced before, what kind of technology are you guys using for vision impaired hunters?
Uh, Used to be, I would, just move the bow, but I would have to look through a scope. And then I found a mount that's called IC2, and
I
it's the
see.
letter I, the letter C, and the number 2. And it's just a little bracket that you put a scope ring on and put that on a regular scope in either the 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock position. And then you mount a separate scope on top of that mount. And what I did is I found a scope that was a single dot, and I mounted that scope and I sighted everything in for 25 yards. And the person who's visually impaired can actually get down behind the scope that's mounted on the bow, even though they can't see. They're getting in position like, any sighted individual does. And they're able to not have to stress and strain to reach anything. And I use that second scope to put it right there on the animal, and I let them know when to squeeze the trigger. Then it came to the eye scopes. You put your telephone on there, and you can get different variations of that. The eye scope would have models for iPhones, models for Android phones, and then the universal. So we had organizations buying a bunch of the universals so we could put our cell phones in there. And,
Mhm.
When you end up with recoil, it's hard to record, on the cell phone and, do all the viewing. You can see it on the phone, but when it's recording on the phone, I had it actually do some weird things on one of the hunts. I saw it just changed the perspective on the phone in the camera itself, that everything got real tiny, like you were looking through a tunnel.
Yeah.
So that was
Huh.
difficult. Plus the recoil things bouncing around. What we're using right now is just a very inexpensive site, and it's called Best Site. And Whitetail Heritage brought those out and used them for the first time last year. And I had a hunter that needed something like that last year, and I was sold. And I wanted to buy at least one of their units right there off of them at the end of the hunt. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And they told me where to go to get them. And I ended up buying 2 out of my own pocket. And that's what I do with most of the equipment. I buy it out of my own pocket, and it's mine. I keep it, but I use it for, folks that need it. And, you also have different, you've got, I'm drawing a blank. There's a company that has the scope. It's actually the scope and everything else involved. So you sight it in and it'll video and all of that. But these, they're very inexpensive. You slide a piece over the back of your scope. So you're actually seeing what the scope is seeing. As long as you have it balanced, you've got a fairly nice, clear picture. And you're seeing all the crosshairs or the dots or the chevrons in a scope. And it's on a 5-inch screen. So I watched a screen, and Allison and I had something set up that if, a deer was standing there and we had time, I could let her know to lift the bow up or move it to the left or move it to the right. And, if we had that time, then I would let her know when to squeeze. But if something happened that we had to take a shot quickly, and if she felt me grabbing a hold of the bottom of the stock and actually moving it, she would know that, it's going to be a quicker shot. And we don't have time to say left, right, up, down, go in a circle, do whatever, stand on one foot. We didn't have that time.
Right.
But we worked out pretty good. We had the mama doe come in, and she wasn't stopping, and we only had a small window widthwise, and I took over with the bottom of the stock, and she didn't say anything like, "What are you doing?" She knew what we had worked out already.
Right.
Sure.
So it all worked out great. It was a perfect shot. She didn't jump on a trigger like some people do. She had good, trigger presence, just nice slow squeeze. Life was good.
Allison, was this the first time you've used a crossbow?
Yeah, like I've just practiced in the backyard with the one that I have. But yeah, I always shot compound, and I wanted to get back into it. So last year I bought a crossbow, and I think I only went out once, but I didn't get to shoot at anything, so it was just mostly target practice that I've shot.
Right. So, which one did you find more challenging, the compound or the crossbows?
I mean, challenge wise, I think they both have their
Right.
their own challenges. With a compound, you got to hold it steady, and it's everything's you pulling it back and everything. Where the crossbow, I mean, yeah, it's you got to hold it steady too, but you got to make sure that you got your scopes all sighted in, and I think they both have different challenges.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And Barb, you've been, working with Whitetail Heritage for the last 20 years or
Yes.
so. So you've seen so many people with disabilities of all types. And of course you work for 10 Point, and you guys do such a wonderful job getting people out. And the challenges that anybody has, you can accommodate, into the woods. And one of the big stories that I kind of latched onto was after the shot, you had a specific application that Allison could, track her deer with. And I've been around a long time. It's you and I've been friends forever, but I never heard of this before. Can you tell us a little bit about the tracking app that Allison used, and then we'll get her perspective on that.
You bet. The name of the app is called Track and Trail, and you can download it, and you get a free trial app that you use, and it picks up blood. Now, if you've got a lot of red leaves, it'll pick up red leaves too. But, it picks up blood, even the smallest drops. So we were wondering, when I was up in Maine, we were wondering if it would pick up fake blood, because, I've got my outfitter there who has a dog that he trains and, keeps going on things, and he trains other people. And we won't go in any further onto what all he does. And it's all legal, by the way. But we tried it with some fake blood, and we were both impressed. And the subscription is $29.99 a year, which is a great price.
Right.
Sure.
So right before my bear hunt, I went ahead and did the subscription. What I didn't know is after you subscribe, you have to update the app before you get the full features of everything. Up until that time, you get a trial time per day to go ahead and do some tracking. And unless you're going to track really quick within 5 minutes, it's a little difficult. But, once you pay that $29.99 for the year, you are set. And you can change for people who aren't visually impaired. It's great to use because it picks up the smallest drops.
Right.
And for people who have the red-green color blindness, you can actually take and change the color on the screen to yellow. So where it lights up instead of red, you can light it up to yellow, or you could light it up to green if you could see it. But those red-green colorblind people are absolutely loving it that I've been talking to, because they can put it on yellow and see it. The other feature that was just awesome, the way Allison tracked it, is a vibrate function. And I went out there and found first blood, and I tracked it. I found the deer. I mean, it was such a great shot that anybody could track it. just to begin with, once you know where the blood is, you can find that deer easily. But I went to the deer. I come back out to the edge of the corn, and I said, well, I've got good news and I've got bad news. And Allison, I'll let you take over on that one.
I just kind of asked her, like, what's the good news? And geez, what did you say to me? Yeah, what's the bad news?
Well, the good news was I found blood.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. And I said, what's the bad news?
And I said, the blood ended.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, because then I was kind of scared, like, oh man, it stopped bleeding. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
And then the better news was the blood stopped where your deer stopped.
Where the animal was, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, if you have to have a tracker, Allison, I think Barb would be the best tracker. She's had years and years and decades of experience tracking everything. And I just think that was so cool that, not only did you get to harvest your doe using a crossbow, but I never get to track, my animals because
Right.
I always have somebody, with me that tracks it and that kind of thing. So when you were tracking it yourself, that had to be just such an empowerment that, you're using technology and that application's being your vision. That just had to be such a thrill for you.
yeah, and I mean, it was a completely new experience because, I've killed deer recently rifle hunting, and those, they don't go very far. They usually drop right where you shoot them. Well, with that, like, it was a whole new experience to just be able to follow it by vibration, and then how exciting it was to walk up on it and see it laying there.
Right.
Oh,
Technologies is become an equalizer like none other. And we see it in every format. But to hear about new technology now that would give insight to guys like me and Greg, where, we can track this animal and help facilitate every aspect of the hunt, that's even better. And so stuff like that, Barb, thank you for bringing that kind of technology to the forefront for us so that we can hear more about it. But
you bet. But one of the most interesting things was the look on her face when I told her she had one more job to do, and she asked what it was. And I said, well, you got to track your deer. And she looked at me and she said, do you not remember that I'm blind?
Right.
I said, I know you're blind, but you're tracking it.
Oh.
And I said, you're going to use that app I told you about. And
good for you.
She took off on that deer like nobody's business. That was the fastest I saw her walk. And we were not on level mowed grass like we had been on earlier. I mean, she took off like nobody's business. And the cameraman, he's a tall, lanky guy, and he's in good shape. He had trouble keeping up with her, trying to video over her shoulder. She was just moving so fast down through that corn. It was unbelievable.
That's awesome. Nothing's more exciting than when you get your first archery deer and crossbow. I mean, to be able to get out there and still do all this stuff using technology,
right?
It really heightens the meaning of a hunt to me. I mean, hunting is so much more than filling your tag or putting, meat in the freezer. And what was some of the experience like with the rest of the group, Allison? Was everybody happy for you? And did you get to share in other people's success? And what was that like the weekend that you went?
I mean, it was really neat seeing, all the other people coming in and, seeing them up there pulling out their deer and how excited all of them were. I mean, Barb and our cameraman, they were very excited when I shot that deer. They
Oh yeah.
they were hooting and hollering and everything else in the blind.
Right. Nothing wrong with that. That's the best part of deer camp, being able to either talk trash about somebody missing or celebrate the successes.
Yeah.
The hardest thing was keeping her in her seat. She shot.
Yeah.
She wanted to go right now, and we're going to wait a little bit.
There you go.
For new bow hunters, and Allison, you've got a lot of experience hunting, but I think that's the hardest part. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I've been hunting 45 years or so. And whenever I, shoot at a deer with my crossbow, I gotta actually like calm down. I get so excited after the shot that my wife half the time says, "Hey, we gotta wait an hour. We can't start pushing this deer." And I'm like, I know. And she's coaching me, and I've been hunting all my life, and it is just an exciting time. And when you talk about it, Allison, when you and I talked about coming on the podcast, I was just so thrilled for you and so happy. And uh, it's just a great thing that the hunting community comes together for all of us and supports each other in our endeavors and says, you can do this. You're just going to do it a different way. And Barb,
Right.
I know you've seen this year after year with people, but it's just so exciting. And I'm glad you got to do this with Allison and sharing that.
It was awesome. We had 84-degree weather when we went out to hunt,
Wow.
and it's a one afternoon hunt. And we had 36 hunters. It was the largest group that we've ever had for one afternoon hunt, and 27 deer were harvested in that afternoon.
Wow.
And they did something totally new this year. Usually when somebody shoots a deer and they come in, a deer will come off the back of a truck and, they take it to a certain location and take pictures and they line them all up. But they had the meat processor actually there. And when you get there, if you've gotten a deer, you stop at a certain place, open up the tailgate, get back in the truck, and then you run through this line. They drive through and they actually announce who the hunter is and what they shot.
Wow.
And they're pulling up in front of a great big huge banner. And above the banner is a Jumbotron. And they're videoing that, and it's all showing up on the Jumbotron.
Right.
All total, they had close to 700 people there to witness it.
Wow.
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 But, for the whole day, they had people in and out. And when it comes time for the hunters to come back in, it's just absolutely amazing. And in driving through like that, we got up there and they did the announcement, and Allison's going, boy, I wish they just stopped this. Oh, they don't need to say my name. They don't need to do this. Just let me get out. And we got out and they took the deer out, and the three of us, we had our hero shot. And then we went straight. They took the deer straight to the processor. They took care of everything with the tag. We had it called in before we, even got there. So that was taken care of. Got the receipt from the butcher. Allison's still waiting on her meat. She was supposed to get it yesterday, but told her, I said, the driver that brought us back decided he liked it and he was going to go out and shoot her an old rutted up buck and replace the meat.
That's right.
She wasn't real happy about that, but she's going to get her meat soon enough. She doesn't have to ride all those hours back down to get the meat. She'll get the meat next week.
Oh, the hunting community celebrates so well for each other, and you guys plan all year for this hunt. I mean, it's a day hunt, all the planning that goes into this, and to have so many people in the community come together and celebrate not just Allison, but all the hunters, whether they were successful or not, some of the people, I'm sure that was their first deer.
Oh,
And
certainly.
and to have an experience like that, and for the community to share in that, and to have the
Hmm.
butchers right there, and uh, I've never heard of something like that. I mean, that had to be exciting for everyone involved.
You know, Allison talked a lot of trash to me, you know. I can dish it and she can dish it, so you know, it was good.
You know, I know you can't eat antlers, but Barb, what kind of breakdown did you guys have between antlered deer that were taken and does? Or, I know that doesn't matter to some people, but I'm just curious in the process of this podcast.
I think we had about 7 antlered deer. And the way this group works, a lot of the people are landowners, and
Right.
this is a co-op that is putting this on. And the majority of the folks are Amish and Mennonite,
Gotcha.
and a lot of the property belongs to them. And then there's some that lease it, and then there's English people that own some property and they let folks on there. But we're not taking and stacking these 36 people on top of each other.
Right.
You know, there's not a long drive, but you might have a 20, 30-minute drive. You may have a 10-minute drive.
Right.
You have to get in a truck and go. You may have to walk a little bit once you get there. Or in Allison's case, we had maybe a 40-yard walk from where we were dropped off to where the blind was.
Yep.
Right.
And
It's a good thing being able to partner with all these different landowners that know the property and be able to, stagger your hunters so they're not on top of each other.
yeah, and they're all about the deer management there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
when it comes to this hunt, all gloves are off. They have no minimum. If you want as a shooter to shoot something, you are allowed, and they let everybody know. And you know, Allison was a visually impaired person. We've got quite a few that are visually impaired but not legally blind.
Mm-hmm.
We've got folks who are quadriplegics, paraplegics. We've got amputees. We've got all types of different things. We've Down syndrome. We've got anything you can think of. If we can get somebody out there and they don't even have to be able to squeeze the trigger. If they can bite, we've got the adaptive equipment.
Yep.
Be Adaptive is a great place to
Yes.
get equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And Be Adaptive, I send so many people their direction, in different organizations their direction.
Yep.
Whether it's the sip and puff, that's not something you can switch between person to person to person. That's a one-person deal. But you can take that and modify it and put a bite plate on that, and then change a coating on there. You can latex coat it, cover it, and then when that person's done using it, you take that latex off, latex glove part, whatever you take that's something sterile that one person only is using. It can be sighted in before they get there, and all they have to do is bite down on it, and it activates the trigger. And Be Adaptive is very, very, very adaptive themselves in that if you've got a crossbow or any type of firearm, if they don't have experience with it, you can actually trace the stock in the trigger box and send that off to them to make sure they get you something that fits.
Yep.
It's not, one size fits all the time.
They are a wonderful family company. They're not a huge company. It's a family business, and they take it really seriously on getting people what they need to get outdoors. Mike and I have known them for quite a while, and they've always been just wonderful people. You call them, you get somebody that understands, and they get the equipment out to you right away. And if you're
Right.
going on a hunt and need something, they'll do their best to accommodate you for sure.
Yeah, I found out about Be Adaptive, and, I don't have any of their equipment myself, but I've put a lot of people in their equipment, pointing them their direction because
Yep.
they're top notch.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Allison, when you were growing up and even today, did you have some mentors that took you out hunting, or who are the people that got you involved from a young age, and who are the people that you deal with now?
I started out, like I said, with my dad. It was my dad and my family on his side. They're really big hunters. We got a bunch of property and a bunch of stands. And I mean, and then I kind of, went out on my own as I got older and could hunt by myself. And now, my brother-in-law, he helps me a lot. He takes me. He was the one that I was hunting with this morning. He does really good at making sure the spots are, easy for me to get to, or making sure there's no sticks or branches or logs, in my way. And I mean, my uncle, I hunt with him quite a bit too. We all waterfowl hunt together. But usually when it comes to like the archery and rifle season, it's my brother-in-law.
Nice.
There's nothing
Nice.
wrong with that. Have that family relationship, being able to get out there and share, not only the woods and waterways together, but just being able to share the spoils.
Yeah.
Definitely not a good shot with my shotgun with waterfowl. Pheasants are about the fastest birds I can get after. I've gone duck hunting a couple of times, but I I'm just a terrible shot when it comes to ducks. I better stick with my crossbow and whitetail here in PA. I might have to come up to Erie and get some hunting and shooting lessons off of you, Allison.
Yeah, well, I mean, up here the geese, you probably have no problem with geese. They're huge.
Yeah.
That's what I need to do next season. I'll get some pointers from you.
Hey, we're always looking for people. We'll take anybody out. We like taking a lot of kids too. The kids
There
like
you
to go
go.
out.
Do you have any hunts coming up in the future, Allison, or what's the plans for the rest of the season for you?
I mean, I don't have anything set in stone, just regular seasons and stuff.
Hopefully you get your PA buck since you were successful in Ohio. And Barb, do you have any more hunts coming up for people with disabilities or anything personally? I know you just got back from a bear hunt recently.
I On November 8th, I'm doing a controlled hunt. I'm on a controlled hunt, and it used to be Ravenna Arsenal. Now it's Camp Garfield, and I've done this several years, and I applied through the military. I'm a military retiree, so I go through the military draw, and it's a little bit easier to get drawn through the military system than it is through the civilian system. And my brother and I are going. It's a partner draw, and we got drawn for the doe only, but we can go in there and uh, we'll work as a team. We get to a new position, we figure out where we're going, and he likes to do a lot of walking and checking things out, and I'll usually hang out, and uh, we shoot what we can, and try and help them call some does out
Sure.
when it's does. And if I get drawn for the buck, only one person can get a buck,
Yeah.
and normally that's me, but
Yes.
he usually has a little more opportunity to hunt prior to that than I do. So if I have my buck already, then we just switch it over to him as getting the buck. But that's pretty good. And we still have a little something in line for Allison to do another Ohio hunt.
There
So
you go.
we've got some more possibilities for her out here.
That that's awesome. You've always been a person I could call and talk to and get advice from, and I just so appreciate everything you do for all of us in the community, Barb. It's wonderful what you do, and uh, I just really hope you know how much you mean to the hunting community.
Well, I try. I do what I can do.
You
There
do.
you go. And Barb, thank you for your service. I truly appreciate, you getting these folks out and being able to do it. And I have no doubt that you'll get back out here. But tell me a little bit about this bear. You kind of touched on it a little bit, then you backed off. I'd like to hear a little bit about that.
I've been hunting the last 3 years up in Maine, and my bear guide is actually a game warden.
Okay.
And if any of you've ever watched Northwoods Law, the Maine edition, he was on off and on for about 6 years in a row as one of the game wardens there. And so it felt like I knew him before I actually met him, because I
Right.
watched the series, and he's such an awesome guy. His family is awesome. And I just love his dog to death. Axel is a tracking dog, a wire-haired dachshund. And he just takes ownership of the bear. When you shoot that bear and he gets that opportunity to track, he takes ownership and
Right.
does not want to give it up. And they brought him out in a backpack. I'm like, where is he at? He's in the backpack. And they got him on the trail. And I mean, the bear didn't go far, but it was odd because bear are normally really silent when they come in.
Yeah.
And, it was getting darker. I had 7 minutes left of legal shooting light.
Wow.
And my bear had come in. I had heard it walking, but I actually thought it was the other game warden in the area coming in with night vision on, because it sounded like a human walking in.
Wow.
And it come in that's basically the same direction I came in from. And I'm hearing this walk and I'm thinking, seriously? Another game warden coming in, with night vision just to check on, somebody that's out there hunting?
Yeah.
That your buddy who's an outfitter also, put you out there? And I'm thinking, this just isn't right. And that bear walked up right behind my tree, and I looked and I'm like, well, that's a bear. So, and then the bear, it stopped and it kind of turned to its right a little bit, and it walked just to the right of my stand. If I'd have leaned over, I could have dropped something straight down on it, and it would have landed on the bear. It was that close. And instead of going to the bait barrel, it walked out just a couple of yards and it turned left. And I said, that's it. This is over. I had every dot, chevron, and crosshair from 20 to 100 on that bear's body, and I squeezed that trigger off. It was within 6 yards.
Wow.
Wow, that's close. My.
It didn't go far.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it when you bring up your crossbow scope and all the pins are in the vitals. That's when you're having a good day for sure.
It was a good day in the neighborhood.
Oh
It
man.
definitely wasn't a game warden walking around with night vision, or somebody else walking around with night vision.
At the end of your hunt too, just when deer are starting to move, that's whenever people generally, if you're out on public land, the guy that always gets out of his tree stand a little bit early and walks by you at the magic hour is what I like to call it, that last 15 minutes of the hunt.
Yeah.
Allison, what advice would you give to somebody with a disability, visual impairment, or what have you, that's thinking about hunting, that maybe didn't have the hunting experience growing up that you did, but what would you like to tell folks that are disabled and thinking about hunting?
I would say definitely find yourself somebody that's willing to put in the time and the effort to really help you, get the goals that you want to do. Because without, the help of my friends and my family, like I would not be hunting at all. Like I probably would have given up, a long time ago. Like that to me is a big thing, is finding somebody that's willing to put in the time and the effort.
That's great advice. A lot of times it's a team effort. We need help getting out there. Some of the animals, when we do shoot, even if they don't drop, we're going to need some help getting the animals, getting it back out, harvesting it, and all that. Great advice. Going forward, if you had a dream hunt to be on, what would that be?
I really want to go shoot redheads somewhere. I don't know where. I just want to go shoot a redhead duck.
Eh,
I'm glad you added that that duck statement to it because I am a redhead, Alice, and I
Yeah,
was thinking maybe I was
you're on the list there,
I
Greg.
was on the list. Heck, I'm only about 2 hours from you, so I was getting nervous for Halloween there. And you had mentioned, that we all rely on friends and family, and that's a fact. None of us could survive with a significant disability without good friends and family. And Barb, I'm going to be buying that application for my colorblind brother that generally helps me out tracking deer sometimes, but he has trouble seeing the colors. So I was excited to hear about the app, and of course we'll put some links to everything on the bottom of the web page whenever we post it. Guys, is there anything else that you'd like to say about hunting or something that we didn't bring up in today's podcast? I'll leave you both with the last words.
Mm,
I'll go ahead and say something. You think of something, Allison. How's that?
okay.
So with the track and trail app, it doesn't just help you track it. You've got property boundaries. It tells you where you are. You can actually drop a pin for each time you find blood. You can drop a pin and it'll mark it on a map. It gives you weather. It gives you wind direction, all of those types of things too. So it gives you more than just the trackability.
Right.
And it's,
It,
like I said, it's $29.99 a year, which is a very inexpensive option
Right.
versus calling out somebody with a drone or a dog or,
yes, ma'am.
losing something right away. I mean, you can actually get out there and do that.
And I didn't realize that it did the property lines, similar to the Onyx or other applications that do that for the same price. I mean, it sounds like you're getting the tracking ability along with your GPS and the ability to drop your pin where your stand is or your ground blind. So I was surprised. I was thinking it just did the tracking, but if it does all that, it definitely is a bargain price.
Oh, it certainly is. And, I've talked to the owner creator, and he sounds like a really good guy. And, he knows what he's talking about. And, just putting something like this together, it's great.
Absolutely.
And, not taking anything away from the folks with the dogs and the drones, but, you're actually able to go out there and do this on your own. You may not have the money to go out there and pay to have somebody
Right.
come in and track it for you.
And it's another tool in your backpack.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And what's nice is, we were able to do this by vibration. You don't have to turn on the vibration. And I took it and I tested it to the hilt. It wasn't dark out. I tracked it by looking at it on the phone and by vibration. And I told Allison, I said, you track it by vibration. All I had to do was get her close. When I first handed her the phone, it wasn't vibrating. She said, it's not vibrating. I said, you have to just move your hand and, find it. And I wasn't going to let her go the wrong direction, but she wouldn't have been able to follow blood if she went the wrong direction.
Right. Right.
But the look on her face was priceless, though.
Almost like a metal detector is what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's one
I
of the
love
hard things to get along. Go ahead, Allison. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was gonna say the one thing I will add to the app is I played around with it a little bit on my phone, and it does use like my screen reader really well too.
So
like it was reading me
integrates.
everything off.
That's fantastic, Allison. And we are so appreciative that both of you come on and told your story today. And when you got your deer and Barb sent me a message, I was hooting and hollering in my living room, and my wife said, "What's up?" And I explained to her, and we're all so happy for you. And anytime anyone gets a deer and text Mike or me, or we just get excited like we're reliving their hunt. So it's a great community to be a part of. And if you guys are willing, we'd like to have you back on again maybe next year and talk about your adventures. And Allison, I hope you get a buck in rifle season. The rut's coming up here, and PA season starting pretty soon for rifle. And it's bear season this week. I don't know if you have a bear tag or not, but if you're out there shooting ducks.
Yeah,
I know you're out.
I don't bear hunt anymore.
I know you're out there having fun.
It gets a little crazy when they come in at 6 yards, isn't it?
I had a bad experience bear hunting, so I don't like going.
I've never been real close to a bear hunting. I've been close to them fishing in a boat, but I'd love to get on a bear sometime. That's definitely on my bucket list. And I know 6 yards would be not only exciting but a little scary, but I'm willing to give it a risk. Guys, thanks so much for listening to the Accessible Hunter podcast today. We really appreciate all that you guys do listening to us and sending in questions and things, and hope you enjoy your season and shoot straight and be safe.